Hello, everyone. Okay, let me just post this here. Okay, here we go. Okay, we are live right now. I know it's a weird day to do a GTA stream because usually we do it on Sundays, I know that. But I wanted to do it today because of the new DLC announcement it got with the court center we got, which is like literally right here. Um, I didn't expect it to be a heist, but I will tell you guys is I don't think that this DLC is gonna be bigger than the casino heist. I don't think it's gonna be. The DLC is going to be a new heist. It's going to be robbing this place, the court center. So this is, this isn't clickbait. This is, what the new DLC is directly from Rockstar. Uh, and I wonder exactly how this heist is going to work. There's obviously going to be an indoor part to this heist. There's going to be an inside. So they're going to have a new interior and everything like that. But I suspect... what is this here? Oh. I suspect that this is going to be, Mr. Faber is going to have something to do with this heist. I suspect that it's going to be Mr. Faber's money. Hey, Pro, love supporting your channel. Thank you, Jake Hunter. But do you guys agree with me? Do you guys agree that this DLC is probably not going to be big? Like, I want it to be big, don't get me wrong, and it's definitely going to be a bit bigger than, like, a few missions, but I don't think it's going to be very big. I mean, this is the place where the shootout happens in the single player right here, yep. Well, you're going to be stealing art. Hey, sorry for not joining, very busy with DoorDash. It's okay, Nikki, thank you for the super chat, thank you for coming by, dude. Final DLC, GTA 5 DLC, did someone say yoga? Oh, no. Don't give them any ideas with that. Yoga DLC, Fabian, you buy like a yoga studio. This is the final DLC. It most likely is. We don't know 100%, but I believe very strongly that it is, because it doesn't really make much sense. Rockstar is not going to make another DLC after GTA 6 comes out, so I think this is it. We're not gonna have a naval DLC though. I wish we did. We're gonna have that in GTA 6. When GTA 6 is gonna have so many islands, they're definitely gonna have a DLC that's gonna be naval themed. So don't worry about that, dude. Final GTA. Thank you, Own Titan. Hey, Pro, Black Ops 1 and 2 are getting ported to PlayStation in July. It was announced it would include multiplayer and zombies in the campaign. Really? Let me look this up really quick. Thank you, Jake Hunter. Black Ops 1 PS5. Let's see what. It's being ported. Okay. Okay, well this is cool. It's not gonna be like a remake, right? It's just a port, right? That's all it is. Thank you, Jake Hunter, for the super chat. One of the new community jobs takes place here. Oh, really? I might take a look at that a little later, Mustang. Will I be playing the Max Payne remix? Oh yeah, 100%. Oh yeah, so see, this maze is definitely gonna be part of the heist. Yeah, this I can tell is already gonna be. There's gonna be something to do in this maze in the heist. Uh. Okay. Wonder what the enemies are gonna be in this DLC. Wondering what that too. Does anyone need help selling anything, by the way? Yes, I'll be playing the Max Payne remix. Hey, Liberty City Police Department. Also, hey, Mega. Thank you for the super chat. Mr. Faber, yes, this DLC is going to have probably gonna have Mr. Faber in it. He's probably gonna be part of it. Toledo Bay, it's like, I guess it's because it's just so far up north. That's probably why they're not gonna do it. But I've been running Casino Heist so much that I'm down with doing another heist. I really hope it's the last update. It brings some finalization to the online story. Protagonist. Also, you should do an HD Universe lore recap for anyone new to the franchise. Love your videos. Thank you, Dr. Florp. Thank you for the super chat. And thank you, Patrick, not Packy. Nice to have another heist, solo even. But it's amazing as Kaio, before nerfs. I'm scared it'll meet the same fate as Kaio with all the nerfs. Well, it's probably not going to be paying out that well at the start. But I wonder what kind of approaches we're going to have and stuff like that, generally. They're going to reuse interiors wherever possible. I think you have a point, Joker. There are going to be, like, probably... I can imagine some of the interiors are probably going to be, like, warehouse interiors when you go in there. That's probably what they're going to be like. I think Abby will host the heist instead of Michael. I think Michael is going to be the one that's going to be hosting the heist. Hi, Joker. What are you playing on PS5? When was the last time you won a podium car? Months ago. What is going on here? The lag is so weird. It is. How much do you think the upgrade is going to cost? Upgrade for what? The art studio? Art studio is probably going to be under $1 million. It's going to be cheap. They want people to do the heist, so it's probably going to be cheap. What is this lag? I have no idea. Yeah, this... Oh, hey, Long John. How you doing, dude? Who is Mr. Faber based upon in real life? Mr. Faber isn't based on somebody in real life, but he is based on a TV show character. I'll show you. Hold on a second. This link that I'll post is gonna have spoilers in it. But hang on a second. Let me put this here. GTA 5 is heavily inspired by Fargo, like the movie, but there's also the TV show Fargo. If anybody's ever watched Fargo, Mr. Faber is based on VM Varga. Hang on. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, wait 1 second. So the link that I just posted in the chat, guys, let me pin this. That's who Mr. Faber is based on. I actually watched that TV show before Mr. Faber even became a character, so when I saw Mr. Faber the first time, I was like, oh yeah, he is 100% VM Varga. Let me see here. Well, $11,000 just for holding the case for 10 minutes. It's no wonder people don't do these activities. Hey, Dr. Florp, thank you for sponsoring my channel. Thank you, Mr. Negative. Has there been any cosplay you've been uncomfortable with, like masks or helmets? But I know you're comfortable with your original hockey mask, though. The most uncomfortable mask that I ever wore, was the wolf mask for Payday 3. Like, the wolf mask for Payday 3 is very tight on your face. It's hard to breathe out of. It is not comfortable to wear. So if anybody's watched my Payday 3 videos, it's the Payday 3 mask was the most uncomfortable one to wear. It's a Fargo TV show, yeah.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, I could, Zach. Does anyone need help selling anything? Oh, I got an invite here, okay. Let's sell your stuff. I'm gonna help Mustang. Or hang on, who is inviting me here? I'm gonna help Kirsten first with his sale.
We're looking at Tuesday, right?
What's your thoughts on the UK social media ban that was announced a couple of days ago? Hey, Jake Hunter, can you explain to me what it is exactly? Like, what's the policy? Wait, what just happened? Okay. I guess you can just, teleport us all inside. You don't have to super chat me again, Jake. Can you explain to me just what the policy is? Like, what is it?
Pick up the police chopper and start making your way over to Mission Row. I'll call you in a bit, once I've done some breathing exercises.
My question is, who's going to be in charge for the new heist, because Lester's gone? Yeah, I think that it's going to be, I think it's going to be Michael. Thank you, Heist the boy.
Without killing any cops, free my dude, get out alive, lose the cops, and get him to tell you the location of a unique and highly valuable car. It's a simple plan. I hope you're ready for this car, boss, because it's gonna be a killer. Now, my guy's got a good eye, you know. And he's not doing shit that lands him in jail, that is. Land on the roof as quietly as possible. Not sure how, but
Well, people, you know, I don't think it's up to the government to regulate social media for kids. I don't think it's the government's job. So like when they're banning social media for kids, you said under 16 in the UK. Uh, so the way that I see it personally is I think that is on the parents. If the parents have like a problem, they should be monitoring what their kids are doing. They shouldn't be asking the government to get involved. So that's my philosophy, Jake. Is I think that it's on the parents. I don't think it's the government's job to babysit people. Do you believe putting somebody out of their misery, even if consistently, to be murder? Well, it really depends on the situation. It depends on whether the person it depends on whether the person had wanted something like that. Like for example, like if there's like a war and like somebody, you know, has like a traumatic injury in like the war where they're like it's like really bad, like there's no chance they're gonna make it and they're just suffering and they want the another person to do that, then I don't think that that's really murder necessarily. And that happens in war. That's pretty much happened in every single war where, you know, soldiers will, you know, kill their wounded soldiers that they don't think will be are savable. They just think they're suffering, and that's how it's kind of messed up. But it's it really, like I said, it all really depends on the situation. Depends on whether the person can be saved, whether the person has no chance to survive. There's a lot of different factors that come into this. Thank you, Mister, for sponsoring my channel for nearly 2 years.
On your knees!
Now, once you got your hands on
The Mind's Eye DLC video was still a fun banger. Thank you.
He should be on the lowest level, aka the basement. The gas won't have made it down there yet, so be ready. Keep it non-lethal. You find the cells, figure out how to get them open. If there's a computer nearby, it'll take out the emergency locks. After all his escape attempts, they don't take any chances with him.
Hey, over here! You Jamal's partner? Then let's go, baby, let's go! Okay, the back door is the quickest way out of here. I've been memorizing the code everybody punches into that lock. Let's hit it. I got a chopper waiting nearby.
Oh yeah, did I mention that King Tiny has a chopper? Podcast must be doing pretty good, right? That's how he's getting out of town. You just got to get him to it.
What do you mean, Vanny? Collect the stashed weapons. Wait, where are we going right now?
The getaway car is still exactly where you left it. Or whatever you want to use to get the fuck out of here and over to Tiny's chopper.
Where did everyone go now? Man, I wasn't paying attention here now. Oh, crap.
Once you drop me off in one piece.
I don't think all buildings will be enterable in GTA 6. No, I don't believe that. What are we doing here? Is it better to work in fast food or retail? I would say it's better to work in retail, because in fast food, people will complain about everything. Okay. Brandon, are you getting out of there? What's going on? Why are you working one of the salvage yard jobs? Yeah, I'm a bit confused by that too. I thought I didn't know we were doing a salvage work right now.
He tell you where the car is? Then don't waste any time. Go get that shit.
Man, these cops are annoying.
Okay, two things. One, you'll be in gang territory, which puts you in serious danger. Two, you'll be dressed as a cop, so you might as well have a target on your back and shoot me now, painted on your forehead. I don't have a solution. I just wanted to say, good luck.
Oh my god, the NPCs are helping the cops.
You're dead! You wanna bum me?
Oh crap, okay.
I'm taking you down!
Okay, I gotta lose these cops now.
Yo, we did it! We broke off a jailbreak! And made it out with this sweet-ass car! Bring it back here ASAP and we'll get any damage buffed out. Ooh, I'm shaking, bro. We're fucking killing it! I mean, you're fucking killing it! As long as it isn't me. Please.
I already know how to lose the cops here. Why do I still have cops? I should be losing them. Okay, hold on. I'll read the chat in just one moment here, guys. Yeah, GTA Online content is just not as popular as it used to be. Hey Pro, every GTA has a theme. What theme do you think GTA 6 will be about, since GTA 5 was about heists? Oh no, might be, drugs? Maybe a criminal empire, that's what it might be. Maybe criminal empire, similar to what you had with Vice City. Or something like that. Thank you, Jake Hunter. What is your thoughts on YouTubers beating Hollywood at their own game? For example, the Backrooms movie being Star Wars Mandalorian. Wait, what? I didn't know about that. What's that? And thank you, Michael, for being a member of my channel for nearly 2 years. Thank you, DL Gaming. I finally got the Crew Unlimited to work on my PC. That's good. Didn't they shut down the online for the Crew, or that was the first Crew that I'm thinking of? Thank you, DL Gaming. I can try to add you later, Super Mario Maker. There's a lot of people that want me to add them. I just have to make room on my friends list. Yeah, I heard Rockstar Dev started their own union, but I don't think they're working for Rockstar anymore. The guys who started their union, I think those guys have been fired. Oh, you made a super chat, Aaron? I'm sorry if I didn't see it. Let me look. Planning to do a playthrough of retro games? What do you mean, like older games? If I do a playthrough of those, it'll probably be like one big video, not like, several smaller videos. Okay. Rockstar employees are treated very badly, yes. The Backrooms movie came out, it's really popular. I've never seen it, but I've been hearing so much about it, how it's a small budget film that beat a juggernaut like Star Wars. Wow. Well, they had to have made a ton of money then. Do you think the Mafia series will have a villain? Oh, what is this? Do you think they'll have a Mafia villain similar to Mr. Faber? Maybe. Well, like a giant... Like, I mean, the closest thing they had to Mr. Faber was Bruno in Mafia 2. What's going on? Are we delivering these vehicles? Don't see anything on the map. I was able to deliver even though it wasn't even on my map. Definitely getting back into GTA Online starting tomorrow. The event week's gonna be crazy moving forward, so down to play with you, pro. Thank you, Randub, Dodubs. Thanks for the super chat, man. I don't know, they didn't say it was the last update, but we suspect it is. Well, not every game needs to be compared to Red Dead Redemption 2. It did set a standard, but not every game needs to be compared to that. Thank you, and thank you, Rando, for that super chat. You said Mr. Faber will be in the last DLC. You're wrong, just about ruining my GTA 6 fun. We don't know that Mr. Faber isn't going to be in this DLC. Hang on, Super Mario, I gotta, Super Mario, what was your PSN? GTA Online stream today, huh? It was over the new DLC. The new DLC was revealed today, so I thought I would make a video talking about it. Friends only lobby, yeah. Can you complete GTA San Andreas 100% completion? I already did it. I got 100% in it a couple months back. I did a stream series on it. No, I don't think they'll leave Mr. Faber as an antagonist in GTA 6. I think they'll very much keep him here, in GTA Online, and they'll kill him off here. No, D, I haven't yet. The Black Ops things, they're just ports, they're not remasters, right? Just ports, okay, yeah. That's what I figured. I'm going to probably later, D. Okay, who needs help with something? Have I tried robbing a convenience store in GTA Online? I can do one. I haven't robbed a convenience store in like probably more than a year on this game. Yeah.
Wow!
Man, yeah, I haven't robbed a convenience store in a long time in this game. I'm excited for the ports too. The only thing that's gonna be annoying is getting the platinum trophy in in Black Ops 1 because the veteran missions. Remember that. Yeah, I decided to do a stream today because of the new update.
Shit, man! That's crazy.
Whoops.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay, Super.
Oh, I'm about to change shifts, but I can help you. Hold on, please. I'm emptying it. I can't go any faster. I really need to get insurance.
Whoa! Drop your weapon!
Whoa.
Stupid mother...
Can I call a mugger? On who? Retro Dre did the Black Ops playthrough on Veteran without dying. I know that channel. He also did World at War. His World at War videos are the most famous. I really wish that, you know what I wish they would have ported? I really wish they would have ported World at War. If I had to ask for one game, World at War is the one game I wanted ported the most.
All right.
Want to know something funny? If you take Chop for a walk in the single player, you can actually use the ball to rub a store with it, and the store clerk will actually feel very threatened. I didn't know that, Actorness. That's hilarious. It's kind of like, in GTA 4, you could actually kill somebody with a hot dog. And I know people are like, what the hell? But you actually could. Because in GTA 4, you could pick up items on the ground. You can't really do that in GTA 5. And you could pick up a hot dog, and you can keep throwing it at somebody. And you have to hit somebody like 100 times the hot dog, but eventually it'll kill them. That was like one of the funniest deaths in GTA 4. Hey Pro, who do you think is the most likely characters from GTA 4 and GTA 5 to show up on GTA 6? Phil Bell in GTA 4, Jimmy in GTA 5, Jerry Kapowicz in GTA 4, maybe Luis Lopez too, El Rubio also. I know his voice actor passed away, but they could bring him back with another voice actor. Thank you, Random Fist, for the super chat. seen a video of someone getting killed by a cigarette in GTA 4, so you can kill somebody with a cigarette too. That's... It is gonna feel a little weird playing Black Ops 1 on PS5, but I guess we'll have that. Lester, I don't think Lester's coming back in this DLC. Have I been to Mount Rushmore? Yes, I have. I did Assassin's Creed 1, yes. But I haven't played any other Assassin's Creed game after that. No, it's not harder to see with this mask on, it's fine. Lester is retired, yes. Jodie from Agents of Sabotage. He is like the most forgetful character ever. Like, Jodie was like a character everybody forgot about. No, not yet, Brandon. I will before Sunday, though. Who's Jodie? She's a woman in the Agents of Sabotage DLC. Well, Portugal just pulled out of Angola. They had a coup, and that's why they pulled out of the war in Angola. I think we robbed every major building on the map. We have at this point, yep. How could UNITA have won the civil war in Angola without the one of the reasons that the MPLA won is because of their gas money, because they were better funded because they took over the gas fields. That's one of the reasons the MPLA was able to win the war in Angola. How many days do I have in GTA Online? I'll check in a little bit, like 500 something days. Well, Poland is a pretty religious country. That's probably why. Yum. Chevron, yes, Chevron actually sold, so here's the ironic thing that a lot of people don't know. When the Angolan Civil War was going on, Chevron was drilling gas in the coastal waters of Angola, and the MPLA, the communist rebels in Angola, actually provided protection to Chevron's oil fields. And so the nationalists, which were UNITA, were actually the ones trying to stop and take over the oil fields. and the communists were the ones protecting it for an American company. And the ironic thing is that there was the Cuban army that was also in Angola. They were also protecting those oil fields, also protecting American oil fields. And what was happening is when Chevron would sell the oil, they would give a cut of that to the MPLA, and the MPLA would use that to fund their communist revolution in Angola. So a lot of people don't know that communists protected literally an American gas company in Angola. Well done on your 007 first light playthrough. Thank you, Pierce. Thanks, dude. What if Jonas Savimbi was never assassinated in 2002? He still probably would have eventually lost because, like, the MPLA had already been in power for several years. It would have been a miracle for him to take power. I think it's just all about money, JPK. That's, you know, even though Activision owns, Microsoft owns Activision, they're releasing these on the PS PlayStation just so that they can make some more money on it. I'm honestly surprised Black Ops multiplayer will have, there will be Black Ops multiplayer. I'm honestly surprised by that. I know there were some volunteers, Vanny, but Cuba I know is the largest force. Ghost Elephants in Angola? What's that? My favorite PlayStation exclusive game? Maybe, Days Gone. Yeah, Days Gone, I would say. Oh yeah, Black Ops 7 will be dead when Black Ops 1 and 2 get ported, yeah. That might be them trying to do damage control also, because Black Ops 7 was so bad. Might be that too, yeah. What do you think the main theme of the next Mafia game is? As you said, it's revenge, but Mafia 3 already did that. Well, you can always have another revenge storyline, but this revenge storyline might be a bit different, where Lincoln was betrayed from the start, where the Cesare doesn't know who Enzo's son is. And what they might do is they might do it where Enzo's son, like, joins Cesare's family, like, infiltrating it, and then working his way in to just destroy the whole family. That's basically what it might be. That's what I suspect the whole thing might be. Okay, let's go to Demigod's next business here, help him out here. GTA 6 is based off Bonnie and Clyde, yes. Do you think that No Way Mercenaries are rebranded Merryweather? That actually might be a way that they got around it. They wouldn't just change their company name. Yeah, that's some. A lot of companies do that. They change their company name constantly. Are you gonna stream Black Ops 1 and 2? I might do the zombies. The single player I'm not gonna do because I already did playthroughs not too long ago of it. So there wouldn't be point for me to do another playthrough. But I might do like a stream of the zombies or do like videos on the zombie maps I haven't done. Well, Manhunt is in a different universe though, Yun. I really wish they would release Manhunt 2 on as like a port on PS5. Did I like Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 1 zombies? Black Ops 1. I never got into Black Ops 2 zombies that much. Do I have the Mark II, the Oppressor Mark II? I mean, yes. I just never use it. Well, I'm not a fan of the I'm not a fan of the monarchy in general, but if I had to dislike one of them, it would be Harry. I know Harry's technically not a prince anymore, but I really just didn't like Harry. Really didn't like him. I don't know yet, Brandon. I'm gonna do Yakuza on Sunday, yes. Yeah, I know there's a few trophies I still gotta get, Brandon. I found out in the early days of Russia, U.S. movie studios boycotted export of their movies, so that our movie theaters couldn't show them. Reason: piracy. Well, in Russia in the 1990s, the Russian mafia pretty much ran Russia in the early 1990s, because like when the Soviet Union collapsed, their economy fell apart, and there was just so much corruption. There was like so many people from the government that were just stealing, government assets. That's how people became billionaires overnight. They just took and stole government assets. Yeah, so they might have been just worried about, like you said, piracy, because there was just so much corruption in that time. A movie could be like sent to Russia, and then copies could be made of that, and then it could just be mass distributed out there, and nobody would watch it in the theater. Everybody would just watch it illegally. Stream this weekend, Spider-Man next month. Also, I don't get why critics panned the Michael Jackson movie but enjoyed a Netflix documentary painting him guilty. I haven't actually seen the Jackson movie. People have told me to watch it. I heard it got good reviews. Well, that's a good question. I think you would probably live a quiet life and not be able to do anything anymore, Caton. The multiplayer for Black Ops 1 and 2, it's been so long since I played like a classic Call of Duty multiplayer.
Please, you got your space, I got mine.
Yeah, I was looking for your profile on Life Invader, but I couldn't find it.
Okay.
How bad does GTA 6 have to be for it to flop? It's not going to flop. Even if it's terrible, they're gonna sell, you know, so many copies on day one. Well, the Singaporean government is very authoritarian, but they also are like one of the cleanest countries, and they have one of the lowest crime rates. I think that's where their praise comes from. I'll look at it later tonight, Brandon.
Come on!
Oh, bunker sale. Let's do it then. It wasn't long though. Soon private distributor companies went there and convinced to license huge bulk of cheap movies and documentaries. I heard National Geographic was really popular back then, huh? Yeah, I heard about the Black Ops 1 and 2 port. Yes, the Viet Cong games, I'm interested in playing those. And also the conflict games, Hunter. Would I be okay with a new Black Ops taking place in the 70s? Yeah, but I think they should do the early 2000s next.
You ever want...
You should play Hell Let Loose. I do. I just never played it on the channel, but I do play it a lot. No, they're just Black Ops 1 and 2 are being ported. I think that's the only news about a new Call of Duty IP. Oh, Hell Let Loose Vietnam, I'm definitely gonna play. I'm excited for it. Definitely looking forward to it. Why was Jaime Weiss so so crazy. He shot his brother for laughing at his leg. I can't blame him on that, but he was kind of crazy. But George Bugs Moran was worse. Wait, Jaime White shot his own brother? I didn't even know that. Well, he was definitely one of the most terrifying gangsters in Chicago. I actually wanted to do one Demon Wolf on Reznov, and since Black Ops 1 is getting ported, I think it might finally be time for me to do that lore video on Reznov. Is it true the IRA supports communism? Not really. The Irish Republican Army, they had a varying amounts of like political ideologies. Like some of them had supported socialism, some of them had basically supported like full-on dictatorship. But the IRA, even though they weren't necessarily like a communist terrorist organization, they did have links to the North Korean government. So like the IRA did have links to North Korea. That is true, and North Korea did help fund parts of the IRA. We got this one. There we go. Good work, everyone. Wait, North Korea was funding the IRA? Yes, they were. So, basically, North Korea gave the IRA millions of dollars in counterfeit cash, which IRA agents actually brought back to the West, and they tried to use that counterfeit cash. And the reason North Korea gave it to them was because the way the North Koreans were looking at it is that the IRA was fighting primarily against the British and against the West. And because the IRA was going to use those counterfeit bills in circulation, it was also going to damage America, because they gave them counterfeit American bills. If anybody's ever played GTA 4, in GTA 4, Derek is a former IRA member, and he meets up with a North Korean agent who's smuggling in counterfeit cash into the country. That's based on a real-life event, where the North Korea gave IRA agents, counterfeit bills. Does have any evidence of that? Yeah, it was like a case. I don't remember the name of the case or the person involved, but it did happen. Somebody got arrested for that. An IRA guy did get caught with that. They never made a Korean War game because it takes place right after World War II, and it's like a very forgotten war. Do you think this update will have items from GTA 6 like a double action revolver? No, there's probably gonna be like what I think is they're probably gonna have like a career progress reward for like Jason and Lucia's outfit. That's probably what they'll have, but it's not gonna be more than that. Okay, what's going on here now? We're selling another business? I think, what is the price of a PS5 right now? It's $700? Is it? Is it that? I think it might be $700. What's your opinion on Azerbaijan, the country in the Caucasus? Well, the Azerbaijan... I wouldn't say that Azerbaijan necessarily has a very democratic government. And the thing about Azerbaijan is that Azerbaijan, I know, has actually committed war crimes against like Armenian prisoners of war. There was a disturbing video that actually went around like a couple years ago when there was the Armenia-Azeri war, and the Armenians executed the Azeris executed a bunch of Armenian POWs. Like, it was a really brutal video. Like, it was really horrible. Like, I did see it before YouTube took it down. It was really horrible. So the Azerbaijani government didn't even deny that they did that. That's what was like really disturbing about that whole thing. Usually countries will deny that when they murder POWs. They'll say, "Oh, that never happened," but Azerbaijan never denied that happened. Let me see here. Why isn't that told? Because people forgot about it. Like, the Azerbaijan and Armenia have been fighting wars for like a long time. There've been a few skirmishes, a few wars, and like people just don't talk about it. They completely ignore it. It's like in the part of the world a lot of people don't know about. Wait, Fernando, are you being serious? Do you think that mission with Michael where they hunt the Azerbaijani guy was based on that? No. Because the Azerbaijan-Armenia war, that happened in, what, 2021 or 2022 when that happened? Now, about the, when Turkey denies the Armenian genocide, and so does Azerbaijan. What happened with Mr. K, the incident with Mr. K was based on a real-life event. Like, I actually did a video about it the other day, or not the other day, a couple years ago. It was based on a real-life event where the CIA kidnapped this guy from Germany. He was like a Turkish guy that lived in Germany, and they kidnapped him, and they accused him of being a part of Al-Qaeda when there was no proof that the guy was part of Al-Qaeda. There was no evidence for any of that stuff. And they had basically kept the guy in prison. They tortured him in Guantanamo Bay for several years when the guy was innocent. And basically, when they realized that the guy hadn't done what they accused him of, they basically just dumped him in Germany, and they denied all knowledge of it. And the guy's name was Kurnash. Kurnash was the guy's name, with a K. He was who Mr. K was based on, and he tried to sue the American government, and it failed. It didn't go anywhere. But it was completely wrong what the U.S. government did. It was crimes against humanity, like kidnapping somebody like that, keeping them for years, torturing them. It was disgusting. The CIA torturer, the guy in real life who tortured the Kurnash, his name was Steve H. That was his name. Steve was his first name, and his last name was H. It starts with an H. So, like, that's who Steve Haynes is based off of, and that's who, like, Mr. K is based off. Kurnash, it's also spelled with a K. That's what the whole story is based off. It was based on, like, a real-life event that happened. And what GTA was making fun of is GTA was making fun of how incompetent the government was. They literally had a guy that was completely innocent, that had nothing to do with terrorism activities, and they were just torturing him. And the guy would have just told them everything. They didn't need to torture him, but literally they tortured him for no reason in the game. So that was, like, what they were making, Rockstar was making fun of. They were making fun of that real-life case that happened. Are you playing on fidelity mode? I might be. I might have to check that a little bit here. What's that, Adrian? Have you seen The Boys? No, I know it's like that movie with those corrupt superheroes, or TV show, I should say. Homelander is the guy's name, I think, right? I want to talk about what happened in Timor-Leste in 1999. Are you talking about the referendum that happened in East Timor that Indonesia did? Is that what you're talking about? I heard a story where a high-ranking official in Germany in World War II was effective at getting info from prisoners by just treating them kind with respect. Yes, that he was a Luftwaffe officer, German Air Force officer. I forget the dude's name, but that was like a real... And the crazy thing about that, he was recruited by the U.S. after World War II. His interrogation techniques were so successful that they were actually copied by so many countries. Did I ever see the movie The Purge? No, but I know it. It's that movie where, you know, crime is legal all for one day. You're making fun of billionaire corruption and how incompetent the government is. Oh, okay, Zach. Wait, what are you talking about exactly, Ram Man? What, 1999? Are you talking about the East Timor referendum, or am I thinking of something else? I'll see a visionary. Take care, man. No, I've never watched Midnight Express. Unit 731 was disgusting. It was really horrible what that was. Did you hear about the girl who played in The Ring, the movie, and voice actor for Lilo and Stitch? What, she played in Lilo and Stitch too? I didn't know that. Have you ever thought about joining the military at some point? When I was younger, I kind of did. There's a few reasons that I didn't end up joining the military when I was younger. It was like when I was like 18. The reason for that was because one, I have mild scoliosis, which I don't know if that was if that would disqualify me, which is like your back is curved a little bit. It doesn't like prevent me from like standing up or kneeling down or anything like that, but that might, you know, that might not I might not be allowed because of that. But the main reason that I didn't join the military, the main reason, it was literally because of the Syrian civil war. That was the main reason. Because what happened was, when I was in high school and I was getting out of high school, I was considering getting into the military. But what happened was the Syrian civil war had basically just started up, and Syrian war, I remember, started up in 2011. And when that was going on, the U.S. government was getting like really involved in Syria. Like they were supporting like a lot of rebels and stuff like that in Syria. And I was scared that if I joined the military, that the U.S. government would start like a stupid war and go into Syria like they did with Iraq. And I didn't want to do that. So that was basically it. Is when I considered joining the military when I was younger, it was primarily to defend the country, but I would not have supported some action in like some foreign action in the in random parts of the Middle East. So that's what I was just generally scared about. Getting sent to Syria and stuff like that. So that's the main reason that I didn't, you know, end up joining the U.S. military, was that. So you didn't want to get killed? Yes, but the main reason was that it was such a stupid conflict. It was such a stupid it was such a stupid conflict. It was like so stupid. It was so idiotic. It's like our government gets involved in so many dumb conflicts around the world, and that was like that was one thing I was scared about, is getting involved in Syria. Okay, that's fine, Zach. Santa Cruz. hang on, Pro. I'll look this up in a second here. Or Pro, Santa Cruz, what? What is the name of this incident that you're talking about? Well, if Kim Jong-un gets assassinated, he probably has some kind of list of what to do if he dies, and that'll probably be to, you know, fire nukes. The military told me I was colorblind. I later found out my colorblindness was so mildly I'd never found out without taking the test. Oh. And that did that prevent you from joining? Because they I know that in the military you need to have a complete view of colors, and that's because, you know, for example, smoke and stuff like that in different colors mark different things. Okay, hang on. I'll look up Santa Cruz 1999 incident. I'll see what that is. I just ordered a new shotgun. Oh, cool. What kind? Did you really ask Elon to buy Red Dead Redemption 2? No, it wasn't. It wasn't really serious. So basically, like a week ago, when Elon Musk became like a trillionaire, I made a tweet and I was like at Elon Musk, and I was like, you know, since you've become a trillionaire now, can you buy Rockstar and update Red Dead Redemption 2? And literally read it online, and the tweet went viral. I know that, and like that was it. I don't think I didn't expect it to go viral, but it did. It was like a joke, but it was some people got pissed off at me, and like for that tweet. I don't even know why people got pissed off at me. It was just a stupid joke. Let me see. I have to see. Yeah, so it got 10,000 views. It did. And I know it went viral on YouTube. Like there was some GTA YouTuber that posted a picture of it, and it went viral on his channel of like me making that tweet at Elon Musk. But yeah, there was that. Thank you, the Shadow Narwhal. The actor Davi Chase, she died at 35. She was in The Ring, the movie, and voice actor Lilo and Stitch. Oh, what happened? Why did she die at 35? Thank you, Brendan. That's sad. What happened? I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. Mario, did you get a chance to watch my video? I sent you like a Recess episode. Like Recess is another 90s cartoon you gotta watch. Recess was really good. Okay, hold on. Let me look this while they're delivering this. I'll look this one up here.
Come on, then. Come on. Miscreant.
Let me see here. Who the hell are you? Okay. Let me see here.
Okay, invoice paid, and we have a sale. Currency's in your wallet, and Long John T is logging out.
Okay, I see it. Okay, so the Indonesian hang on. This was so Indonesia did some pretty horrible things against East Timor. I do actually know a little bit of this history. So let me see here. I just want to get the dates right. Okay.
Fighting some great work.
This state has gone nuts.
It's not looking good.
Okay, so,
They're DOA, man.
You idiot!
okay, so basically the whole backstory about East Timor, so that, yes, so here's the backstory of East Timor, and if I get any of this history wrong, I apologize. What's your name there, the East Timor guy, who was pro man? But
Whatever.
basically, what happened was in 1975, Indonesia conquered the small country of East Timor, which Indonesia bordered. It was also an island country, but they bordered on the same island. Now, Indonesia claimed when they annexed East Timor, they claimed that they were doing this because East Timor was going to fall to communism and it was a way to protect themselves, but there was really no proof of this. Oh, you're Indonesian. Okay, but you know the history then. So Indonesia basically invaded East Timor, claiming that it was to protect themselves from communism, but it was just an excuse that they did to conquer and annex East Timor. So they took over East Timor, they annexed it, they oppressed the East Timorans for several decades, for two and a half decades they oppressed them. They murdered a lot of East Timorans. Now, what ended up happening was, in 1999, East Timor had a referendum, and the referendum was to leave Indonesia. Now, this referendum was largely hosted by the United Nations, and Indonesia was trying to use this referendum for political purpose. They were trying to use it to basically justify their annexation of East Timor to the world, to the United Nations. And Indonesia basically told the East Timorans, oh, you vote to stay, you'll have greater autonomy in East Timor, but it was all nonsense. It was a propaganda. And the Indonesians were like 100% confident that the East Timorans were going to vote to stay, but the East Timorans overwhelmingly voted to leave Indonesia. And because that was a United Nations referendum, East Timor, Indonesia couldn't do anything at that point. And so what Indonesia basically did is they funded a bunch of these dangerous militias. They gave them weapons and gear, and they sent them into East Timor, and these Indonesian militias started committing massacres, just massacring the East Timorans, killing them. This happened in 1999. And the United Nations was completely useless. They completely failed to protect the East Timoran population. They did nothing. And what ended up happening was Australia stopped it. So Australia is right below East Timor. Australia saw the killings that were going on. Australia sent their military in to stop these Indonesian militias, and they took them down. And they kicked them out. And then Australia occupied like East Timor for like a few years, and then left after everything was stabilized, and they gave the country back to East Timor. And that was basically the whole backstory on that. So Indonesia did do some pretty horrific things against East Timor. The United Nations was useless. Well, the United Nations has been useless in a lot of situations. The thing about the United Nations is, I can name you three instances where there was basically genocide going on, and the United Nations failed every single time. So you had the Rwandan genocide, and in the Rwandan genocide in Africa, the United Nations did nothing to stop that, nothing. Then you also had the Bosnian genocide that happened in Yugoslavia when the Serbian forces were massacring Bosnians, taking them to mass graves and just killing all of them. And the United Nations was there. They did nothing to stop it. Nothing. They didn't stop it at all. And then the same exact thing happened in East Timor when the Indonesian militias were just mass murdering the Indonesian militias were mass murdering the East Timorans. The United Nations did nothing to stop it. You have like three countries, one in Africa, one in Europe, one in Asia, and literally is in those instances is that the United Nations failed to protect the population every single time, and the people just got murdered. So it was just a disaster with the United Nations. Did I get that history right, by the way, Pro? What's your name? The Indonesian guy that was asking me to talk about it. Man, did I get that right? She died from meningitis and serious blood infections. Oh, that's horrible, Brandon. Thank you for the super chat. So you're saying a lot of those people that were involved in those killings are in power in Indonesia today? Pro-Rom, man. I'm on fidelity mode. Okay, let me change this. Do you think there will be another Mexican standoff? Nah, probably not. It's probably just gonna be a heist where you go in and out and... I'm working in fast food right now and it sucks. What other jobs do you recommend? Here's what I recommend. If you want to get out of fast food, the best job that I can recommend for you is to do DoorDash or Uber Eats. Do that. Because while you will be making similar amounts of money, the benefit of that is that you work on your own time, you deliver food, and you don't have a direct boss. So you work whenever you want, and I should have done that. I should have just done DoorDash and Uber Eats when I was younger. I shouldn't have done retail for 6 years because I was getting stressed out by customers and all the other stuff. So that is something that I would look into more. I know that DoorDash and Uber Eats isn't the best thing, but it's a much better environment to work in than working in retail. I used to fall for the GTA clickbait when I was little, like since I was 5 years old. I think about GTA 5 story about Floyd and Deborah on the Epsilon program. Well, the clickbait was really bad. Yeah, really, really. There was a lot of story clickbait too. You should check out Blood Message. It takes place in the Tang Dynasty where he plays a nameless massager with his son to deliver a messenger to deliver a message to the East. Huh. When did this game come out? Do you think the new heist will be the best way to make money? Probably not, but it's gonna be worth doing at the start because you'll get a bunch of bonuses doing it the first time. When will the heist be out? In July. They didn't say exactly what day in July. Somewhere in July. A lot of people think it's July 14 because that's when GTA Plus ends, but Rockstar hasn't confirmed the exact date. What video game villain do you think had the most justifiable motive behind their actions? Think about that one. Hey, if anyone is playing on GT Online on Series X, I need help with Doomsday Heist, currently on Rescue ULP setup. Okay. Snowy Imp is playing on Xbox if anyone wants to help him. Thank you for the super chat, dude. I have to think. A villain with, a video game villain that's justified. Helga Angelica, yeah. Well, Helga wasn't always cruel, that's the thing about her. In security, you got crap just like in retail, but you can give it back more often than not. What is the longest survival on World at War Zombies? We really don't know, because people have hacked and glitched the zombies. But I remember when I was on PS3, when the game first came out, the longest one was like Wave 35. That's what it was Wave 35. It was like the longest that anyone has survived, which is, you know, almost impossible to survive at that point. But, yeah. I would rather fight in France during World War II against the Germans than fight against the Japanese. The fighting against the Japanese in World War II was something else. The criticism of video ideas, retail, and YouTube, Patrick. Yeah, I could do that on my next channel update video, QC Suppressor. Randall from Recess was so annoying. Oh yeah, he was. He was the snitch. But, Mario, if you're here, you have to watch that Recess video that I sent you. Like, Recess was such a great cartoon. I watched that when I was a kid, and you can watch the whole series for free on YouTube. Like, literally, all the episodes are free on YouTube. It was such a great cartoon to watch. My longest survival on World at War Zombies, level 20-something on Nocturne. I got pretty high on it. Level 20, getting past level 20 on Nocturne is solo is really difficult to do. Thank you, Brandon, for the super chat. What part of New York are you from? Brooklyn. I used to fall for the GTA clickbait when I was like 5 years old, and think about the GTA 5 story mode of Floyd and Deborah in the Epsilon program. What do you think of Twitter getting rid of language barriers? What do you mean by that? What are we doing next here now? Have I ever seen any terrifying tornadoes while driving? I've seen tornadoes before, but not while driving. I've seen them from my window far in the distance. But they never came into town. We saw the clouds, you know, get really black. I saw it once, very far away. Why didn't you do DoorDash or Uber Eats instead of doing retail? I guess I just never thought about it. I'm your biggest fan. Well, thank you. Thank you there for the super chat. What do you think of the UK ban for social media for kids? I don't think it's the government's responsibility to babysit children. I think if parents don't want their kids to be on social media, they shouldn't let them be on social media. Thank you for the super chat. Do I still keep in touch with any of my former co-workers in retail? 2 I do, yes. But I haven't talked to them in some time. It's not about parents not wanting kids on social media. It's about getting the kids to go back to school. What do you mean by that? I will still play it this year. I just don't know when Shining Knight. I want to finish getting 100% in Yakuza Kiwami first, and then do Kiwami 2 100%. When did Germany and the Soviet Union agree to invade Poland together? August 1939. They both drew up plans. Well, I still gotta do the Saints Row 3 DLCs. I still gotta do those. Well, I can't stand communists, but people shouldn't have, you know, violence against them just because of their political viewpoints. People still have the freedom of speech to believe in what they want to believe in. Thank you, Hamza. How to stream on PS3 games on PS3? You would have to hook up a capture card, Brandon. Yes, Super Mario, but I'll probably do that later. I think you missed the most important part of the update article. There's wording in there that makes me believe they're changing all previous heists to be solo. What do you mean, addicted to capping games? What do you mean? I really appreciate your recent video calling out the GTA 6 clickbait. I also wanted to ask if you know about the kids content around GTA 5, which is majority clickbait and inappropriate. Well, a lot of kids fall for this stuff, even though it's the people that primarily fall for the clickbait are a lot of times kids. Even though GTA is supposed to be an M-rated game, a lot of kids do play it, and it's a lot of kids that are very vulnerable to misinformation that clickbaiters post out. Is the language thing accurate though, let's skip? How well, Desmond Doss did save that many people though. It did happen. After this sale, I'm going to bed. I have a headache. Like, see you on Friday. I'll see you, Brandon. Take care, Brandon. Everyone wish Brandon to get better there. I hope you feel better, Brandon. I'm not gonna make this one in time. Oh, they're really booked? Zach, huh? I guess there still are a lot of people that care about history then. Have you ever heard anything about Confront Tazi, where our founding father Sukarno decided to liberate Malaysia from colonialism? I remember that crap is reason why Suharto rose to power. When you say in quotations mark liberate, are you being like sarcastic when you say that? I know there was the Malayan emergency where it was Britain was intervening in Malaya or Malaysia when there was communism, communist rebels. What's that, D? Yeah, I want to do an Evil Fallout 3 playthrough too. I think the Evil one will be much more fun to do. Oh crap, what the... I don't know what I'll do for this 4th of July, but I do know that I'll do a live stream though also. But other than that, I don't know what else I'll do. Well, I think the trial didn't conclude, Adrian. It was still all going on, but there would have to be separate trials. But that's the thing about Ace Attorney is it's Ace Attorney is never about proving your client is innocent. It's more about figuring out what happened. Have I seen Tulsa King Season 3? First 3 episodes I've seen. The Dixie Mafia guy is really scary. Because they have just so many different beliefs, June. What is the origin for my YouTube profile picture? It was like a website that like lets you make custom South Park avatars. I made it like 10 years ago.
It's
Okay, let's skip. Well, at least the translation is on. But the way you're talking about pro-Rom man, Indonesia doesn't have freedom of speech? Does it? Or isn't one of Mr. Faber's cars there? Because it just seemed like you didn't like talking about that. Yes, they were, Adrian. Yes, I'll do an evil playthrough Fallout 3, yes. So the government's very corrupt, is what you're saying then. Pro-Rom man, if I'm saying your name correctly. Alberto Fujimori, isn't that the Peruvian president who had Japanese background? Like his parents were from Japan? Do you think Siphon Filter needs a remake? The original trilogy, definitely. Those games would be so cool to get a remake of. We might do Blood Harvest next if we do another one in Left 4 Dead. Do you think Curly is creepy towards Rhonda? Is Curly the kid with the glasses in Hey Arnold? Isn't that the kid that gets punched in the face a lot of times by Helga? Thank you, Mario, for the super chat. Oh yeah, so he's definitely creepy. Oh, Finlay. Finlay, can you post your comment one more time then, please? Have I watched Sons of Anarchy? No, but I know the show. It's the biker TV show. I have a casino heist ready, but primarily gold. Let's do it, us, me and you, 2 people. I think we can actually steal most of the gold, 2 people. I think we can do it. You were thinking of Brainy, not Curly. Oh, okay. Why did the U.S. president treat Jesse Owens like garbage? He famously said, Hitler didn't snub me, it was our president who snubbed me. Roosevelt. Yes, Jesse Owens was not invited to the White House, that is true. That is the, Roosevelt's administration was pretty racist. It wasn't as racist as, like, some of the other administrations that you had, but it did have things like that happening, too. It was, you have to also remember, Roosevelt was also the guy who put the Japanese in internment camps. He did that too. So it was, like, a lot of people like Roosevelt, but they don't realize his administration did some pretty bad things. Thank you, Dead Blood, for the super chat. Is this the last thing that we're selling, Toxic? Who needed help with the casino heist? Oh, Toxic needed help with it, okay. Would I ever just make history videos about them being based on video games? I don't know. It's like, a lot of times I just like mixing them with video games. Just talking about, like, the real-life events and what actually happened. That stuff I do like a lot. Thank you. And wasn't your name before Outcast? Because I see it seems like you have a similar avatar. I was saying that the youth and younger generations of the UK aren't going to school or work. That's what the social media ban is about. Well, that's still on the parents. It should, if the parents have a problem with that, then they should control what their kids are watching. But I don't like the idea of the government regulating social media for everyone. I'm thinking about translating and voicing YouTube videos. I thought about doing the same with movies. It's a hassle easier to ask a YouTuber for permission than a studio for license. The thing is movies are probably not even going to require translators anymore in the future. They're going to use AI to translate everything. Probably is. Can you explain what ugly cage means? Where did you hear that? I'm not trying to get you down or anything, Liskif. I'm just saying that I think that that's what they're probably going to do in the future. Well, still, I just don't like the idea of the government policing the internet, Finlay. I'm probably gonna play the Black Flag game when it comes out, but I don't know if I'm gonna have any time to play any Assassin's Creed games before that. Who would rather team up with on a heist? Do I think VM Varga got away with it in the end? I don't know. That ending was very ambiguous on what happened. Who would you rather team up with on a heist? Nico, the McCreer family, or Michael and his crew? Probably Nico, because Michael would just be running through so much issues, like so many problems.
You close.
Hey, thanks for calling back.
Okay, Toxic, we'll do it too. My favorite villain protagonist in games, like a game where he plays the villain. Um. Uh. Well, in the GTA series, you always technically play as a villain. You're playing as a criminal. But probably be Mike. Not my Nico. Nico was probably my favorite GTA character. Other games, the boss in Saints Row 2. Yeah, the boss in Saints Row 2 was also pretty good. He was definitely a villain-like character.
All right.
Okay, let's skip. Forgery and bunker. Okay. It's okay, Casey. You don't have to apologize. You should create another channel for stock markets. No, dude, I am not the right person to ask for stocks. So the Take-Two stock did shoot up today. Like the last 2 days, Take-Two stock has been rising. Like it went up by $10 the last 2 days. So like people were panicking about it last month, but I was right that it would go up in June. But I will say this: I am not a financial advisor. Like there are people that are just way more knowledgeable to stock market. I just know about a few companies. I only trade in 2 companies: Amazon and Take-Two. That's the only thing I deal in. Nothing else, and I don't even do it a lot. So it's What's the story in that one about Phoenix? What's my opinion of Napoleon? He was probably the most talented military commander in European history. When it came to him as a person and his policies, some of his policies were really good, where he put in the Napoleonic Code, where he was like against aristocratic privilege. He didn't like want the church having so much power in European governments. He got rid of the Spanish Inquisition in Spain. He said, people socially are equal under the law. It doesn't matter if you come from an aristocratic bloodline or not. So he did have like good ideas. And a lot of the countries that fought against Napoleon had fought against him primarily just because they felt that he was a threat to their power. They were the ones who actually attacked him. So he was a lot of times defending himself. But he did attack other countries. Sometimes, like he attacked Spain without provocation. He did do that. What I will say about Napoleon is Napoleon also did some bad things too. The worst thing that he did was when he brought in slavery into Haiti. That was like the worst mistake he did and the worst thing that he did. It was like a colony that was freed during the French Revolution, and all of a sudden he was bringing back slavery. Why are you anti-Soviet? Because the Soviets did horrific things and messed up so many countries, and their regime was disgusting. What if America won Vietnam? If America won the Vietnam War, what probably would have happened is, I suspect that North Vietnam would still exist as a country, and it would be kind of similar to China, kind of what the entire Vietnam is today, but South Vietnam would exist as a country, and I think that if South Vietnam had never, you know, gotten conquered, like if it actually stayed, I think that South Vietnam would have been just as rich as South Korea. I do think that. Like, I think South Vietnam would have been just as big as South Korea if they didn't collapse the country. Like, they had great potential, they did. And when the communists took over South Vietnam, they ruined it. They wrecked it. Like, they destroyed it really badly. Curly is the sociopathic boy who once held up Prince Wart's office over not being ball monitor. He has a creepy obsessive crush over Rhonda. Oh. I have to look at a picture of the characters again. Thank you, Tricky Mario. But Mario, you gotta, so South Vietnam would basically become Singapore? No, more like South Korea. But Mario, make sure you watch Recess. You'll like it. I'm at 40 million right now. I definitely want to grind 50 million before this July DLC. You're already good, dude. Thank you, Rando Dubs. You don't even need to grind anything. You're good. You're fine on the money right now. 40 million is more than enough for this next DLC. You're good, dude. Do you think it was possible for North Vietnam to disappear? No. The only way North Vietnam was going to go away is if the U.S. took them out in a war, like literally invaded them and got rid of their government. But the U.S. wasn't trying to invade North Vietnam. The United States didn't really invade North Vietnam. They spent the entire war defending South Vietnam. They did launch aerial missions into North Vietnam, but they didn't actually send troops, you know, infantry troops into North Vietnam invading it. That's what's so ironic about the Vietnam War. A lot of people don't know that. Is that they say that the United States invaded Vietnam, but the United States stayed in South Vietnam, where South Vietnam was an American ally, and South Vietnam was wanted the United States there. They sent 10,000 advisors originally. It was actually North Vietnam invading South Vietnam, but a lot of people don't know that history, and it doesn't. And I'm not necessarily saying that the Vietnam War was justified or not, but I'm just saying is that don't always believe all of the history that you've been told, because a lot of the history that you've been told is very biased in how they describe things. The United States invaded most countries. China builds wealth. What did China do to Tibet? They invaded Tibet. They annexed it. They tried to destroy Tibetan culture. China threatened to invade Taiwan. How many times? China also invaded and took over Turkestan. They did that too. China occupies parts of Mongolia, and China even makes more land claims to Mongolia today. Also, China also makes claims to Vladivostok. Vladivostok is a Russian city that's in the Far East. China claims that it's historically their city. China has had a lot of border disputes with a lot of countries. China also builds artificial islands in the southeast, South China Sea, and what they do is they use that to basically inflate their borders, because when you have an island, it's like several miles outside of that island is actually technically your territory, the water. And so they build these artificial islands just to expand their borders, and then they harass like the Filipino Navy, they harass Filipino ships, they also harass Vietnamese ships, they harass the Vietnamese. Vietnam is a communist country too, but Vietnam can't stand China, because the one thing I'll say about the Vietnamese communists is at least the Vietnamese communists are not interfering in other countries, where China is repeatedly interfering in other countries. That's what I'll say about that. So even the Vietnamese communists hate the Chinese communists. Okay. What do you mean by you're weak to alcohol? It means I can't drink a lot of alcohol. Yeah, China would not be the country that it is today without its free market reforms. That's literally why it became so powerful, because it was its ability to make money. Yes, that is true. The reason that the Soviet Union never annexed Mongolia is because they didn't want to deal with a huge Chinese border. Well, communism is just against human nature in general. Skip, like you said, people want to be rewarded for their efforts. People aren't going to do things for free. That's what I think communists never understand. They think that people will do everything from the goodness of their hearts. It's not how the world works. What tactics specifically, Vanny? Well, the reason that Germany killed more Allied troops than German troops that died was because German blitzkrieg was very effective early in the war, and then the rest of the war, Germany was on the defensive. Defense always favors the defenders. Thank you, Deadblood, for the super chat. Yeah. And how could I forget? How could I forget? I was talking about Chinese imperialism, Ananda, and I didn't even mention what China did against India. You're from India, right? Yeah. So China literally invaded India. They did in the 1960s. I forgot about that. That was like another country they stole land from. So China stole land from India. They invaded India in the early 1960s, and the war didn't last very long. I think it lasted for around a month. And China ended up annexing some of India's territories. And India was so shocked when that happened. Like, they were so thrown off because India had believed that China was going to be an ally of theirs. Like, literally, the Indian government, like, I think it was Nehru was the name of the Indian prime minister. Like, he was trying so hard to be friends with China, and then China just backstabbed him. And I don't understand why he was trying so hard to be friends with China. It's like China was a brutal dictatorship that had basically starved and killed millions of their people, but he, for some reason, thought that China was going to be a friend to India, and then China invaded parts of India, and China still holds that land to this day. It's actually the same region that India and China have been beefing over today. Like, literally, they've been fighting. Like, when you see those videos of, like, those Chinese and Indian border guards fighting, that's in that same region. It's that mountainous region that they keep fighting over. So yeah, like, literally, China stole land from India, they stole land from Mongolia, they stole land from Tibet. They actually conquered all of Tibet. Literally, they're trying to steal land from Vietnam and the Philippines with their artificial islands. They're trying to take their waters over. What about anarchism? Can people manage themselves if split into smaller communities? Here's the thing I'll tell you about anarchism.
Believe me.
But both communism and anarchism don't work, but anarchism has more of a chance of working than communism does. You know why? Because anarchism does not force people to do something that they don't want to do, where communism forces people to do something that they don't want to do. There's a difference between them. Anarchism is basically no government, where communism is basically everyone works for the government. Government, no private property, everybody's employed by the government basically controls your entire life. That is the difference between them. It's both the opposite ends, where anarchism is no government, communism is government controls everything. Was I right on that with India's history? Yes, Gunner, I see you just joined, but literally like 5 minutes ago, I was talking about how China is threatening Vietnam also, and they're building artificial islands. Oh crap. Hold on a second here. Hold on, I gotta plug my controller in because the controller's dead. Okay. Oh, those islands belong to Vietnam, Minion Dave. They don't belong to China. China literally has no grounds for them. What was Ralph mean when he said, "I'll give the kid a pass"? In Sopranos, it means he won't punish him. But the problem is anarchy will create oligarchies. Well, notice what I said about anarchy. I said that anarchism doesn't work. It doesn't work, but it has more of a chance of working than communism, because anarchy does not force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. That's ultimately why I would say it's even less worse than communism. Now, and this is honestly this is why I don't this is why I don't hate anarchists. Where communists, for example, I don't like them in general. I don't like them because they're telling me how to live my life. Anarchists, I might have disagreements with them, but at least the anarchists aren't telling me how to live my life. They're not telling me that, what tax rate I should pay. They're not telling me I can't own, property. They're not doing that. So that's what I'll say about that, is that at least the anarchists aren't telling me how to live my life, where the communists are. Okay. Well, Cyphex, I don't know if you know about this. JFK actually reached out to India in the early 60s, and he had, and he wanted, like, India to actually become an American ally. But India actually chose the Soviet Union. They chose to be more friendly with the Soviet Union. Now, India claimed that they were a neutral country, but they were more pro-Soviet. But then they were more favorable towards socialism. But then what happened was Nixon really messed it up. Like, Nixon was, like, really messed up Indian and American relations, because what happened was Bangladesh was rebelling against Pakistan, because Bangladesh was part of Pakistan at that time, and India had supported Pakistan. Or no, India supported Bangladesh, I'm sorry. And then Pakistan invaded Bangladesh and was, like, committing genocide against the Bangladeshis. And then India attacked Pakistan, and what happened was Nixon sided with Pakistan in that, and that pissed a lot of Indians off, and a lot of Indians are still really angry about that today. Like, they blame the U.S. for that. Like Nixon even sent, like, American warships to threaten India. That was, like, so that's really what broke down, like, Indian and American relations. It was, like, that war, the 1971 war, which that caused, like, a lot of problems. Oh, I missed a super chat from Victor. Let me look. Here. I'm sorry, Victor, if I didn't see your super chat. I apologize, dude. Let me see. What? Have you seen The Wire? A storyline in the show may have inspired the Playboy X and Dwayne storyline in GTA 4. What? Where, like the student tried to have the mentor killed? Something like that? An anarchist is a person who advocates for anarchism, a political philosophy that seeks to abolish coercive hierarchical institutions, particularly the state and capitalism. Well, the thing is anarchy is such a complex ideology, because there's so many different types of anarchists, where, for example, there are anarcho-communists, which anarcho-communists are basically people that they don't believe in a government, but they believe that people should live in communities, and that limits should be on their money and property, similar to communism, but without the government. And then you have anarcho-capitalists, which anarcho-capitalists are the most common form of anarchists, which basically they are people who just don't believe in the government. They don't believe government should exist, and they believe that government is a threat to their individual liberty, their lives, their freedom. That is basically the difference between the two of them. Which episode is it, Victor? Okay, let's see here. gonna actually hit this one first. What about libertarianism? That's kind of minimal government. Libertarianism is the least amount of government. I generally like libertarianism. I think it works fine. The thing is, a lot of people say that libertarianism doesn't work because the government has to spend money on a lot of stuff. But what they don't understand is that if the government didn't have these expenditures in the first place, libertarianism could work. It's a it's the problem is the government just spends so much money on stupid things. Is fascism evil? Yes, 100%. It's an authoritarian, ultra-nationalist ideology. Like, it's very imperialist in nature. Like, fascists oftentimes think that countries that are surrounding them are, that they're inferior to them, and they think that they should rule over them. I do, Cypher. Can you do a New York accent, please? Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm walking here. I used to talk a lot like that when I was younger. I guess I kind of grew out of it. Yes, that definition is true, Nanda. It's true. No, I didn't know that, Gunner. The newest form of government is Anglicanism. Do you think that Indonesia overall exists because of the product of Dutch imperialism? I remember people say my country couldn't exist without the Netherlands. No, that's not true. Indonesian civilization has existed for hundreds of years, so no, it's not true. It's not. And I mean, like, look. Even if you take a look at, like, my country, the United States, right? Like, people say that the United States exists as a product of British colonialism, but the thing about this is, even before the Revolutionary War, even before that happened, we started developing our own culture, our own identity, even before the war even started. So we weren't even created because of British colonialism. We just created ourselves over time. That's how it happened. We stopped identifying as Englishmen, and we started identifying, with our land here. Eventually, we started calling ourselves Americans. At first, it was people called themselves, like, New Yorkers, Virginians. That's how people called themselves, like, Pennsylvanians back then. But then eventually, they started calling themselves Americans. I passed a super chat. Let me look. Fascism is socialism with an ultranationalist ideology created by Giovanni Gentile and Benito Mussolini turned Gentile's ideology into law. I'll answer that one in just one moment here. Thoughts on the Damien reacting to Wings 500 rant? I watched that one, and he was, I remember that, he was generally surprised about how Wings was reacting to that. He was surprised about the taxes, too, about how much of a cut, like, the government takes from super chats and also how much YouTube takes. But it was, he was still criticizing, Wings of Redemption for that. Because he insulted a guy who gave him a donation. So about fascism being socialism with ultranationalism, it is true to a degree. It really depends on the form of fascism that you're looking at. Like Nazi Germany is arguably very much a fascist country also, but you have several fascist countries that have existed in history. You have, Nazi Germany, you have, fascist Italy, you have fascist Spain, you have Ustasha Croatia, you have the fascist in Hungary, I forget their name, but there was like you can even make the argument that Japan was fascist during World War II. So there was a lot of those different countries, and those different countries had different economic systems. But yes, Nazi Germany is more closer to basically socialism mixed with ultranationalism. That's what Nazi Germany is. It's basically like it's basically white supremacy mixed with socialism. That's literally the best way to describe like Nazi Germany. It has like parts of a socialist economy, but blended in with extreme racism. I love your videos, but I can't become a member. That's okay, Zerth. That's perfectly fine, dude. You don't have to apologize for that. No, I didn't know that, but I do know that La Paz, Gunner, is the like the tallest capital in the world. I think it's like the capital, like the biggest elevation in the world. I think that's what it is. I had not heard about indigenous supremacists. Wait, what are you talking about? What are the positive and negative consequences of the French Revolution? I think that the biggest positive of the French Revolution is that it reduced the power of the aristocracy. Like the aristocracy and the monarchy. Like the monarchy was removed from power in France, and it reduced the power of the aristocracy and gave greater, power to the common man and woman. But the downsides would be the violence. Like some of the parts of the French Revolution got extremely violent. Yes, Zach, it was.
Look.
Who is Damien Reacts? Oh, he's a channel that reacts to videos. That's what DR is. Okay, let's help him out with this heist here, then. Pro, are you just trolling when you make a tweet mentioning Elon Musk about buying Red Dead? I was just trolling, dude. It was a joke. There were so many people that got mad at me over that. I don't know why so many people got so angry at that. I wasn't like defending Elon Musk or anything like that. I was actually making fun of the fact that he became a trillionaire. That's what I was. I was like, since he became a trillionaire, can you buy Rockstar and update Red Dead Online? Well, the anarchists had taken over Barcelona in Spain during the Spanish Civil War. Okay, let's do this here, Toxic. Let's do this heist. I mean, America did try to do that to a degree. Also, Venny. I mean, the Americans were very friendly towards the Montagnard people. And also the other minority that was in Vietnam. It was the Montagnards, and then there was the Hmong. The Hmong were the other people. So like the United States had reached out to the Hmong and the Montagnards, but but look, America wasn't a perfect country, but no matter what America did in Vietnam, they weren't going to get out of that situation because look, the reality about the Vietnam War, this is what a lot of people don't know, is that America did not just lose the physical war. We didn't actually just lose the physical war. We also lost the propaganda war. Like literally, the communist propaganda. Here's what I'll say about this: the communist propaganda is more effective than any other propaganda in history. Just think about all the evil regimes that have existed in history, all the different, monarchies. You had dictatorships, you had communist countries, fascist countries, whatever. The communist propaganda has been the most effective of any other regime's propaganda in history. It has been. Like the communist propaganda, you can make the argument, has even been more effective at brainwashing people than the Nazi propaganda has been. So the thing about the communist propaganda is the communist propaganda was so strong in the Vietnam War that it was like people in America were even swayed by the communist propaganda, and they believed that every single American soldier was like a baby killer. They thought that every American soldier was like a rapist, just doing horrible things, like, doing genocide and stuff like that. That's how the communists portrayed, every single American. They said all Americans are like this, and it got so big, it got so powerful that so many people got brainwashed by that and believed that. And I'm not even saying the United States should have been in the Vietnam War. What I'm just saying is that the propaganda that the communists used in Vietnam, it was just so strong and it was just so effective that it's just It even swayed people in your own country. When enemy propaganda is convincing even people in your own country, that's when you've lost a war. When people in your own country are starting to doubt it and starting to fall for, enemy propaganda, that's when you've pretty much lost the war. It's over at that point. It is. Do you think Austria was justified to go against the French Revolution after the execution of Marie Antoinette? No, absolutely not. It was not their business. It was not their country. Austria was basically just trying to install a puppet monarchy into France. Like I'll give you guys an example of the communist propaganda. So uh so pretty much everyone knows what the My Lai massacre was. What the My Lai massacre was, the worst massacre of that the US did during the Vietnam War, and it was also the worst atrocity the US military did in the 20th century, was the My Lai massacre. But there's another massacre called the Dak Son massacre, and the Dak Son massacre was a village that was in central Vietnam. It was a Montagnard village. The Montagnards were indigenous people that lived in central Vietnam. Now the Montagnards really hated the communists, and they were more pro-U.S. The Viet Cong, who were basically communist rebels that fought in the South, they hated the Montagnards for that. What the Viet Cong did was they entered the Dak Son village with flamethrowers, and they burnt the entire village to the ground. And the Viet Cong were so brutal, they killed everybody that they could, just burning people, even children, alive in their homes. And they killed around 250 people in that massacre. And there were survivors that ran away and escaped from that. Now, what ended up happening afterwards is that the communist government in Vietnam spread a bunch of propaganda around saying, oh, it was the Americans who burnt the village down. They were saying Americans dropped napalm on the village. But if you look at the buildings, you look at the destruction, that was not done by napalm. That was done by flamethrowers. And so in all of the witnesses said it was the Viet Cong who did this. It was not the Americans who burnt our village down and killed all our people. But because of the communist propaganda, nobody believed the United States at the time. Everybody believed that it was the United States who burnt that village down, when in reality it was actually the Vietnamese communists who did that stuff. So that's what I'll say about that, is that the propaganda is just, the communist propaganda is so strong that so many people just believe that stuff. They don't fact check that, they just blindly believe that stuff. Communist propaganda basically portrays the United States as, like, evil imperialist, and communists as like heroic, fighting for their country, against the greedy evil Americans. That's how it's been. And their propaganda, like I said, has been so effective and so strong. Well, yes, that is true. Is that the Hue massacre was actually the worst massacre of the Vietnam War. So Hue City, historically the city where the monarchy had lived in Vietnam, when the NVA, the North Vietnamese, had attacked Hue City, what they did was, they initially took the city, but then the United States sent tanks in, and the NVA started getting pushed back, block by block, block. They were getting pushed back. And when the NVA realized that they were going to lose the city to the Americans, what they did was they just marched everybody outside of town. Anybody who they thought was, pro-American, who they thought could work in the United States as police officers, South Vietnamese police officers, teachers, anybody that they deemed a threat, they executed. They just took them to mass graves, shot them in the head, and killed them. And the NVA murdered around 5,000 people in the Hue City massacre. The Hue City massacre is actually considered the worst massacre of the entire Vietnam War. It's not My Lai. So literally is 5 times more people were killed in that massacre than My Lai. But everybody thinks that the My Lai massacre was actually the worst massacre of the war. They think that what the Americans did there was the worst one. So that's what it is the communist propaganda was so strong that a lot of people don't know about that. They don't know the worst massacre in the Vietnam War, it wasn't done by the Americans, actually done by the communists. If anybody has ever played the game Black Ops 1, in Black Ops 1 they show the Hue City massacre, like when you're trying to get the defector out, and they see, like, when the city's falling to the NVA, and they see, like, all the civilians that are running in the streets and the North Vietnamese army just gunning them down. That actually happened. You're not allowed to talk about that massacre in Vietnam. Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised you're not allowed to talk about that massacre in Vietnam, but people that survived that, they know the truth. They know what actually happened. They know it was the NVA who did that stuff. It looks like we're gonna get all of the gold. Okay, hang on, here. I can't jump anymore, okay. Okay, I think we'll be able to get all the gold out here. Let's see if we can do it.
30 seconds.
Look at that, guys. Look at that. We got all the gold with just 2 people. People say it's impossible to get the gold with 2 people. We just did it. Okay.
Perfect. Now get out before they smell a rat. Gas incoming. 10 seconds. We're still under the radar. Perfect. Perfect. People.
Yeah, and look,
We cleaned them out. Okay.
and look, here's what I will say about this is the communist propaganda when it comes to the Vietnam War is so strong to this day that even if you bring this up, and you say like the worst massacre in the Vietnam War was done by the communists, do you know what the people will say? People will say, oh, you're defending the Vietnam War. You're defending the United States being in Vietnam. No, I'm not. I never once said the Vietnam War was justified. You can make the argument that the Vietnam War was not a justifiable war, but for anybody to like defend the Viet Cong, anybody thinks like the Viet Cong were like heroes, they were freedom fighters. No, the Viet Cong weren't freedom fighters. You can make the argument the United States weren't the good guys in the Vietnam War, but the NVA certainly weren't the good guys either, and neither were the Viet Cong. The Viet Cong was a terrorist organization. That's what they were. Like, literally, you see what the Viet Cong did to prisoners, the POWs, how they tortured people, what they did to people? Like, literally, it's like getting captured by the Viet Cong, you can make the argument it's worse than death, because of what they're gonna do to you. So, like, anybody who thinks those people are freedom fighters don't do stuff like that. They don't torture people to death. They don't terrorize their own people. They don't massacre people. Freedom fighters don't do that. They fight for their country and their people. They don't terrorize their people. They don't execute prisoners of war. They don't do that.
They know you're still in the building. Just keep moving and keep quiet. Time to change your outfits. We need a fresh start if you're gonna make it out of here under the radar.
People like strawmanning. Well, people do that all the time.
Closing in on us. We need to pick up the pace. Security is sweeping the whole building.
That's one of the things when I did my playthrough of Black Ops 1, that was one of my accomplishments with the Black Ops 1 playthrough. When I did the Black Ops 1 playthrough, I wanted to give people a different perspective and like break down a lot of this communist propaganda and the lies that people have said. I didn't defend the United States necessarily being in the Vietnam War, but like I showed a lot of things that a lot of people don't necessarily know about. And that was it. I think that a lot of people did appreciate those history videos that I made.
So you'll have to do that the old-fashioned way. Good job, officers. It's about time you showed up. As long as you're in the casino, that outfit's a free pass. Slip out the side door and try not to act out of character.
Do you think the bombing of North Vietnam was justified since hospitals and schools and residential areas were bombed by the United States Air Force? Those weren't legitimate targets. You mean Operation Rolling Thunder? No, that was not justified at all. A lot of innocent people died in that. The problem with Rolling Thunder is the United States didn't know where the Viet Cong was and the NVA, and so what they basically did was they just carpet bombed the entire forests. That's basically what they did. That was their solution. They killed a lot of innocent people. So yeah, the United States did war crimes in Vietnam. There's no doubt about it. The United States did bad things. But you know, I don't have a problem with people saying that the United States did war crimes. The United States did bad things in the Vietnam War, like Rolling Thunder was definitely a war crime. You know, the Agent Orange was a war crime. My Lai was a war crime. So the United States did bad things in Vietnam. But what pisses me off personally is when people say that the NVA were the good guys or the Viet Cong were the good guys. No, they weren't. Just because the United States was not the good guys in that war does not mean that the NVA and the Viet Cong were good guys. The NVA and the Viet Cong did some pretty nasty things in that war. Okay, let's go here. This is like the Mai Khan bombing. The Mai Khan bombing was horrific. That was horrific. So it's good you brought that up. For anybody who doesn't know what the Mai Khan bombing is, Mai Khan was a restaurant that was, I think it was in Saigon. And basically, oh crap, the cars are so far away. Okay, we're gonna have to take a different car to get out of here. So the backstory of Mai Khan is that it was a restaurant that was in Saigon, and a lot of American soldiers would eat there a lot of times. What the Viet Cong did was they put a bomb, a mine, and they rigged the mine to explode, and they left it in the restaurant. And they killed the American soldiers, but all the Vietnamese civilians that were eating in the restaurant. They killed them all. So, like, they killed their own people just because they were eating in the same restaurant as Americans. That is literally how the Viet Cong looked at it. Holy crap. The Viet Cong basically said, oh, you know, they're eating in the same restaurant as the Americans. They're betraying Vietnam. They're traitors. That is how the Viet Cong looked at these things. And the really horrific thing about the Mai Can bombing, a lot of people don't know this, is that there's a picture of an American soldier that actually saved a Vietnamese baby, and that baby, she was the daughter of an American soldier and a Vietnamese woman, and both of the parents died. The American soldier, the father, and the mother, and the Vietnamese mother died in that bombing, and the child survived. The baby survived. The baby was taken to America later on and raised, and the baby lived in America a happy life. She's still alive to this day, by the way, but it's But yeah, those are things that like people don't know about stuff like that. You hear about stuff like that, and like that's why when I hear people say like, oh, the Viet Cong was like freedom fighters, like, you know, they were fighting against the evil American imperialists, I'm like, you know what, I'm like, F you, dude. That's basically, my whole view on that is like, you're telling me that somebody does something like that, like puts a bomb in a restaurant where there's kids, you're telling me somebody like that is a hero? They're fighting against evil American imperialism. Oh, yeah, they're doing that by putting a bomb in a restaurant where there's children. Yeah, they're definitely heroes. So like that's what I cannot stand when people defend the Viet Cong, when they defend stuff like that and they say, oh, the Viet Cong were freedom fighters, they weren't terrorists. No, those are terrorists doing something like that. That's evil. Horrible. Yeah, well, that's sad. It is, but it's like I said, because the communist propaganda is so strong. A lot of people like they think the Viet Cong was like some heroic organization, which honestly just pisses me off.
All right, the decoy is out. You're on your own now.
I went to a Catholic mass and the priest was Vietnamese, and he referred to it's Saigon. Yeah, and it's not just. A lot of people to this day refer to as Ho Chi Minh City. They refer to it as Saigon, the original name. They refuse to call it Ho Chi Minh because Ho Chi Minh is the communist name for it. They still call it Saigon, which was the original name of the city.
Private equity. That's something even the IRS has trouble doing. But you strolled out of there carrying their crown jewels right under their
There was
The ultimate humiliation.
Oh, and the other thing that I can say is the biggest amount of communist propaganda in the Vietnam War that I can think of now is probably the Saigon execution photo. So if anybody has seen the Saigon execution photo, you see like the picture of that South Vietnamese colonel. He's pointing a revolver at that Viet Cong prisoner, and then he executes him. Like the picture is taken like right when he shoots him. Now that picture went viral. It was by a New York Times reporter who took the photo, and when that photo went viral, everybody thought that the guy who got shot in that he was an innocent man that was executed by some evil, South Vietnamese colonel. But the reality of it, the guy that he executed, that guy was actually a Viet Cong terrorist. What that guy had done is that guy and his Viet Cong buddies broke into a South Vietnamese police captain's home. They held him and his family up, and what they did was they tried to force the South Vietnamese captain to teach them how to drive tanks during the Tet Offensive. The South Vietnamese captain refused. He then killed the South Vietnamese captain. He killed his wife. He killed his mother, the elderly woman. He also killed all of his kids. And the mother actually jumped in front of her last child to shield her. She got shot, and the other child got shot, but that child survived under a pile of his dead family's bodies. He survived. And that guy got caught after that later on. And the South Vietnamese colonel who shot that guy in the face, he knew the police captain who died, and when he found out about it, he got so mad, he shot the guy in the face, executed him in the middle of the street. And the thing about that is, was it wrong that he shot him in the middle of the street? Kind of. Because you're still supposed to arrest the person, give them a trial, and, send them off. You're supposed to do it through the proper judicial system. But when you think about it from his perspective, think about this. Is your friend and his family just got massacred, and his kids all got massacred by some guy, some terrorist, that you just caught. Like, would not everybody be enraged? Would not everybody just really want to kill that person right then and there? So, they took a picture of that, and nobody knows all those kids that died, nobody knows their names. But everybody knows the name of that Viet Cong terrorist that basically got shot in the face in that Saigon execution photo. And that's how communist propaganda works. They took a mass murderer and they portrayed him into a martyr, into a hero. And so many people don't know this. And even I fell for the communist propaganda. Even I fell for it because I didn't know who that guy was. When I looked at that picture the first time, I thought that it was sad. I thought it was some guy getting executed in the middle of the street. But I didn't know the backstory. I didn't know that this guy had done horrific things. I didn't know he had done evil things. It wasn't until people told me to research the photo and look into the photo, I looked it up, and I found out the horrific backstory behind it. I found out how disgusting it was. That's that. If you're wondering what happened to the South Vietnamese colonel, the guy who did that photo, he had to flee Vietnam when the communists ended up taking power. He went to the U.S. where he opened a burger and pizza restaurant with his wife, and he actually ended up getting death threats. People went to his restaurant and they put graffiti saying, "We know who you are," from that photo when those idiots didn't even know the full story. And he was actually going to get deported to Vietnam where he would have been executed. But the New York Times reporter, the guy who took the picture, he testified on defending the colonel, and he said that he regretted taking the picture because he ruined the colonel's life. So even the reporter regretted taking the picture. So he did. The colonel did execute a guy in the street, like a Viet Cong, a terrorist. But the guy was a mass murderer that he executed. Like, I don't feel bad for the guy who died in that situation because he was a murderer. He killed a bunch of kids. But that's how the communist propaganda worked in the Vietnam Wars. It was all deceiving, it was all lying and stuff like that. And that's why I say, is personally for me, is I get really disgusted when I see people like defend the Viet Cong and they say, oh, the Viet Cong are freedom fighters, they're heroes. Like, do freedom fighters do something like that, murdering a bunch of children? Like those are not freedom fighters, those are terrorists. So you can make the argument that the United States was wrong to be in Vietnam. You can make the argument it was an unjustifiable war, all you want, but it's one thing to say that the Vietnam War was a bad thing, but it's another thing to defend the Viet Cong and say that the Viet Cong were good people, when in reality they weren't. They were criminals and terrorists and murderers. Let me see here. I see. What was Sengoku Warring States era in Japan, and was the British Empire involved? Sengoku Warring States era in Japan, like Japan had their a series of their civil wars where it was different shoguns and warlords that were fighting each other. I would have to look up what time period that one was in. It was not that was not the Meiji Restoration. No. Oh no, the Sengoku period. No, Europeans weren't really involved in these wars. Yeah, I see the Sengoku period. Yeah. This was the only time that Europeans were involved in the Sengoku period is when muskets, guns from Portugal came in. Like in Ghost of Yote, for example, the gun that Atsu shoots, that is a Portuguese musket. It was like originally a Portuguese musket design that the Japanese adopted and converted into their own use. Tanganashima, I think that's what it was called. It was that's the name of the gun. To this day, we still lose the propaganda war. Yeah, we do, I guess. Well, yeah, but Colombia still threatened to attack Panama, and the U.S. came to their aid at that time, Gunner. What are they adding in this new DLC? They are adding the Court Center heist. Court Center is this place right here. They're adding that. They're gonna add that in a DLC. It's probably going to be, and thank you, Princess Isabel, for the super chat. It's probably going to be it's probably going to be robbing Mr. Faber. He probably has stuff there. I love your work on The Godfather 2. Thank you. Oh, I haven't finished it yet, Gilted. When I finish it, I'll give you an opinion. Yeah, this is the final DLC. I'll turn performance back on. I'll do it here. Minion Dave is asking for it. Okay, there we go. Yes, that was the Korean War, Nanda. When the U.S. got involved in the Vietnam War, why didn't they reform the South Vietnamese government? They did. That's what the United States led a coup against No Dinh Diem. No Dinh Diem was the president of South Vietnam. He was a pretty bad guy, the United States supported a coup of a bunch of South Vietnamese generals to overthrow and kill him. No Dinh Diem was that guy that was responsible for like atrocities against the Buddhist population in South Vietnam. The new government that came to power after him wasn't necessarily completely democratic, but it wasn't like oppressing the Buddhists in the same way that No Dinh Diem was. Well, Slovakia is based on the Warsaw Pact, Gunner. That's what it's based on. No, I didn't, Aaron. What do you think the payouts will be in the final DLC? I don't think it'll be that great. I think it'll be better than like what we had with like Cluckenbill. It'll be at least better than that. Oh, I see my GTA Online video got like a bunch of views here. Okay. Oh yeah, 5,000 views on the GTA Online video today. Did pretty well. Also, guys, the other thing I'll say, and I guess I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream here. I don't know if you guys had seen it. I made a video the other day where I was talking about clickbait, and like I hope that clickbait can like YouTube. I made like a video outlining things that I think YouTube could do to like get rid of clickbait. And basically, I talked about how they need to bring back dislikes and that they need to put in like a community notes thing where like if a channel clickbaits, you have like a little icon like on Twitter. It says at the bottom, it says that this information is unverified. There's no evidence for it, and then like demonetize videos that are actually like found to be clickbaiting. If you support my message in that video, please do click on that link and drop a like. The video I just pinned. We're trying to get to 10,000 likes right now. We're at like 1,600